got 2011 Thor chassis. It's a Daymon Daybreak motorhome. It has the Ford V10 motor. Going to try to give a quick rundown of all the major systems on it, where everything kind of is, in about a 5-minute video, just to kind of show people how to use everything. I might forget a few things, but I'll hit all the major stuff. Hood's open. I was going to do a quick oil change, but there's some locks right here, so if you need to get underneath the hood, you can twist off those locks. There's one on each side there. A key will be provided for that. The main battery for the motor is located right there, so if it does have a loss of power, you can jump it off of that battery if need to, but other than that, everything under the hood is pretty self-sufficient. This compartment's just storage. Nice big storage there. This one has also just big storage compartment. This lock right here, you can unlock that. That's your fresh water supply. Regular garden hose can go in there and you can fill the tank up with fresh water. I generally have the water tank, which is located right there, the white kind of tank, full or 2/3 full before anyone goes to rent it. Next compartment, obviously the slide is out here. You can't drive with the slides out. Slides have to be in when you're driving. That's the propane tank. Generally that's full before any rentals. This compartment does have the hydraulic jack system, and then also just a little Weber grill in there. This one, just storage to the rear. Go around to the other side. In the back here, sorry, space is a little tight. Here's where the power supplies are. So the main supply that's on there is actually going to look like that guy. So that's a 50 amp. If you're camping somewhere and you can plug that in, do that. I also have, as you saw, both adapters going down all the way to a regular 110, probably 15 amp outlet. So you can convert down with these adapters down to a regular plug-in. If you're gonna do that, both AC units probably won't run, but it'll power everything else up. Only gas tank is right there. So obviously unleaded fuel only, regular gasoline, 87 octane's fine. This will fill one tank for both the generator and the main motor. This compartment has the generator, so it's a nice kind of quiet generator. I'll turn it on here in a second. There's an auxiliary shower on this side. There's also the water connector, so if you're camping somewhere and it does have water hookup, that's where that goes. Underneath here is the yuck. So if you need to dump the tanks, generally it's probably like a 2 to 3 shower, probably 10 toilet flush, 10 to 20 toilet flush before the tanks get full, and that should be dumped there. And last thing I was going to show you here is I keep some garden hoses here. So those are the hoses you can use. There's just storage underneath those two. But that's the garden hose that you can use if you're hooking up at a campsite to there. Let's go inside. I said a 5-minute video. It's going to be more like a 10-minute video. Alright, stairs. So I have a couple switches here. This first one, the step override, we can see if we put that on step, then the door or the stairs will go up. So anytime you're getting in and out of it, let the stairs go all the way down. If you turn this override or turn it to override, that'll keep the stairs down. So only when you're camping or parked somewhere, keep that down. Otherwise, when you're moving, make sure the stairs always go up. There is underneath here 2 batteries for the chassis. So there's 2 batteries there. Again, one under the hood, and they'll kind of all work together. I'll turn some lights on here. First of all, let's just start it up. So regular key, kind of regular cab, just like you're driving a big vehicle. Starts up good. Couple things when you're moving, you can have the generator running. I'm going to start the generator right now. So that is this guy. And kind of just hold it until it's like a solid green. You can let it go. And actually, I'm going to turn some lights on here. And those are on a switch, of course. So turn the ceiling lights on. So when you're running, you can have the generator going. I'm going to actually turn the AC units on here too. So this operates the back AC, just kicked on. As you can see, it's like 92 degrees in here. Turn the front one on there. So now both AC units will be running. Only when the generator's on, only when the 50 amp plug-in is plugged in. If you plug in to a regular outlet, you're gonna probably only be able to run one of those AC units, and otherwise you'll pop a circuit breaker. Propane stove, microwave, refrigerator. Show you the refrigerator first here. So on-off switch, turn it on, and you're good if you either have the generator running or you're hooked up to electrical power. If you do flip this switch out, it means that it'll also run off of gas. So there's a system that it'll run off of electrical if you're plugged into electrical, or if the generator's running. If you're moving and the generator's off, then it'll switch to propane and keep your stuff cold that way. A couple switches here. The first one, water pump. So if you turn that, you can see a little light comes on, says pump on. You'll have to turn that on if you want water pressure, and you'll hear a little pump kick on. Now, instead, if you turn that off, you have a little bit of water pressure for what's in the lines, but then it'll eventually run up here to nothing. Turn that pump on, the pressure will kick on a little bit. Doesn't have the greatest water pressure from that little pump, but it does the job. So hot water heater is the next button. Just a little light, little fan on there. Generally, when you're not using the water pump, you can keep it turned off. Just saves on some battery power. A couple things with the slide outs. So if the main motor is running on the vehicle, the slide outs won't work. You need to have either the generator running or have it hooked up to electrical power to run those slide outs. But if the main engine's running, then the slide outs won't work. So here's the switches for the slide outs. The back one will come in all the way. It just comes into a point where it stops itself. Just like that. And then the other big one in the main room here. It'll come all the way in to a point where just hold the button in and it'll stop on itself automatically. So it does get a little tighter, obviously, with the slide outs in, but you need those in when you're moving. Bathroom in here has a shower, toilet. Again, that pump needs to be on for the toilet to flush. There's a little foot flush thing there. A couple televisions that are there, obviously one in the back, one right here. And there's one that gets hidden when the slide out's in. Last thing I'll show you here is the leveling jack system. So the engine has to be running for the leveling jacks, but again, if the engine's running and you have the slide outs won't go in or out. So once you get parked somewhere or just stop moving, and again, you're going to want to make sure that The stairs are up, so I'm going to switch this back to step. I'm going to shut the door. And you can see I heard the stairs come in there. So now I'm kind of basically ready to move. The slide outs are in, the stairs are up. I've made sure all the electrical and everything has been disconnected. Turn the leveling system to on. Green light in the middle means it's level. To bring the jacks up, you just kind of push in the retract. And you saw there, obviously it started moving a little bit. So that's going to pump the jacks in. It takes about 30 seconds or so for the jacks to fully come in. And actually, so this light, indicator light right here, will tell you that they're up. So once that shuts off, it means that they're not down anymore. One thing I always like to do is, once it's all ready to go, I like to take a little walk around, wait for those stairs to come all the way out. I'll just make sure that the jacks are all the way out, kind of front and back. Everything in reverse. When you get to a parking spot, you kind of want to be generally level. In a parking spot, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. That's kind of what the jacks are for, but that's what you want to have them at. One thing I did forget to mention, the emergency brake, you can see the caution and warning light there. The emergency brake has to be on for the leveling system to work. So it's pretty self-explanatory. There's a brake lever, emergency brake, foot emergency brake, that'll go on there. Once that's in, again, you can shut that system off when you're not using it. Turn it back on, and then you just hit auto right here. And again, it's going to take about 30 seconds or so. Try not to be moving around a whole lot. Don't have people jumping around in here when the jacks are going. And as you can see, I'm on a pretty level spot, so it didn't take very much. It leveled the jacks up. Oh, didn't quite like it. Still moving a little bit here. Sometimes when it's, it uses a level kind of in there. So give it about, 30 seconds or so to really get to a spot that it likes. Again, that green light will turn on here. Kind of the whole front's kind of coming up now. So it does shift and kind of shimmy a little bit. That's normal. It gets to a spot that it likes, and then we'll jack everything up. So again, green light there means it's level. Solid green light, I should say. You can turn that system off. Once that's off, again, you can power down the main motor. Again, I still have that generator running there, so that's fine. These curtains, obviously, will slide all the way, and they'll kind of attach behind the seats over there. One last thing I'll try to mention here. Going back to this set of buttons and switches. There's one down here that has battery disconnect, use, and store are the two options. When you're going to sleep at night, and if you don't have electrical power, you can always put this on store. And what that's going to do, it's going to keep from drawing any batteries down. I would say the batteries probably have about 12 to 14 hours until either the generator or the main motor wouldn't turn on. And the one thing I have noticed, if you do keep that to use and the generator's not running, I'll show you here real quick. So to turn off this generator, it just sounds kind of like a lawnmower engine shutting off. Right now, like I said, all the lights are on, obviously. So it's using that battery power. Actually, I can show you here if I switch that off. So we're running off battery power. If I switch that to store, all the lights will go off. The stairs will still work. And the one thing I've noticed is there's a little orange light there, kind of, I think, for emergency type systems. So if that'll go off in a few minutes. Yeah, if you have that on store, obviously the lights are off. And then that light is on there. That should go off in a few seconds here, but I have noticed that that light will stay on if you keep that use button on, and that could, you know, for after a day or so, drain your batteries and you wouldn't be able to start it. You'd have to jump it. But that's about it. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a fun, safe trip.